What made you lose respect for someone? In terms of friendship, my friend that doesn't says things for attention and sorta shoplifts for thrills, not often at all, but it has happened twice I know of. Over-embellishes on stories too, to the point they forget the real story. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say I've lost respect for them, but I'm definitely cautious and worried now. I definitely have my eyes peeled open now to stay out of drama and to make sure they don't do anything stupid while I'm around. I'm using they/them as a gender-neutral pronoun for one person. I'm all for being understanding, but this is a bit much. In terms of relationships, the last guy I was seeing was a divorced dad. After telling me how important I was to him, he gaslit me through my trying to give him space in my face, and was just outright hurtful and disrespectful. I once flew out to see him, and for the tiny bit of time we were alone he spent it texting other women. If I am correct, at least one of them was a divorced lawyer named Rachel with a drinking problem that texted him non-stop, woman face palming. Then there was a Teresa texting about hiking and a Jessica Snapchatting him. Prior to that it was a Sophia he turned into a friend. She is just smart and playing the long game cause I think he hurt her too. Seems like a nice girl though. A Monica asking about what's going on this weekend. A Heather I think with long blonde hair that got embedded in his socks. And the coup de grace was a horrible person, opportunist, manipulative spider and divisive personality named Kathy. Double luck. It was just way too much. I tried my hardest to understand where he was coming from until I saw his only point was to hurt me. This was unnecessary, and so I've lost respect for him as a person and as a man in terms of how he handles himself. The only guy that tops last dude was my physically abusive ex. I have zero respect for him. Geez, I've certainly racked up people I've lost respect for. Sad. There has been about 4 different influencers in a community, sharing a GC, where they were being transphobic, and fat-shaming others in the community. One of them also turned out to be a groomer. Then there was another one a month later who was also exposed for being a groomer. Everyone involved in these situations were people I used to support and respect. A girl I had been friends with in high school impulsively adopted a pit bull shortly after we graduated. She was still living with her parents and had not discussed it with them at all. They said that it would not be staying in their home nor any other pet for that matter. She convinced several of her family members and friends to foster the dog over several months while she half-heartedly attempted to get her own place. Unfortunately, the dog was young with behavioral issues stemming from constant abandonment and zero stability in her life, so was being moved to new places frequently. My family was her last foster before my friend came to pick her up for the last time. Unbeknownst to us, she had actually opted to return her back to the shelter, where I am certain she was euthanized due to being returned to many times. I have not nor will ever forgive her. We would have kept Myra permanently if we had known. It's been 6 years now, but my heart still breaks for that sweet dog. When my prior friend mocked how her boyfriend's dog died. The dog was 20 years old, completely blind. Former friend mocked how she died to me, and said she didn't care about the dog. Said it wasn't hers anyway. I immediately lost respect for her. Then cut her out of my life. This was also shortly before her stellar son was caught dealing drugs. My stepfather loudly and violently demands respect. If anyone does any little thing that can be taken as disrespectful, he will lose his shit. He will never again have a single ounce of respect from them. When I found out Seth Jones was a QAnon-Trumper. When I give someone the benefit of the doubt when I know they're lying, and they continue to lie when I confront them. The second my friend got overprotective. I was at lunch, eating with my friends, when all of a sudden, my friend came over and told me to follow her. I did, and they asked why I was with my friends. I told her I was hanging out with them and having fun. They got mad and started yelling at me about how they should have had more attention than them. Unfriended her right then and there. Guess you lost a cousin, huh? Lol, bet she won't make fun of others now. I actually doubt that. Someone saying I'm not going to take the COVID vaccine because I'll wait it out just to be safe. This dude really thinks L4D2 zombies could be a real thing. I opened up to my father for the first time when I was 11 years old, about how I was molested by my cousin who would babysit me, only a few years prior. God will punish everyone who hurt you, was all he said, and then never mentioned it again. It was a boss I had. She wanted to know why I didn't attend the non-mandatory work event. Well, it was on a Saturday. I'm at church. Simple enough answer, right? Wrong. She told me to, and I quote, "get over this religion thing." Every ounce of respect I'd had for her went out the window. They told me they like Tucker Carlson. This dude I knew had a GF who got a cancer diagnosis like a year and a half to their relationship. The dude pretended to be so in love with her, they got engaged and shit, and he declared everywhere how she is the love of his life. But yeah, at the same time he trash talked her to me and my ex, told how tired he was of her neediness and how she should just enjoy life instead of being afraid of death. Also he tried to hook up with my female friends behind her back. The girl died unfortunately after battling the cancer for about a year. The dude had the audacity to still make poems to her in his FB page, tell everyone how devastated he was and all that. I know having a loved one get diagnosed with a serious illness can do super weird shit to you and can make you behave in ways you would not usually behave, but that dude was something else, man. So yeah, that's the one time I lost all of my respect towards someone. Around February last year, me and my friends all began gaming online to keep in touch since we couldn't hang out in the real world. We were playing almost every night for months, and it was awesome all around. Come February this year, I got into a loving and happy relationship, and cut down gaming from 6 to 7 nights a week to maybe 1 to 2. In Australia during this time we were open and going out again, so I was making the most of it and enjoying the nightlife with my new girlfriend. Unfortunately, one of my longest friends couldn't handle me and some others not being online every night, and anytime we contributed to group chats or Snapchat messages, there were completely unnecessary and uncalled for comments about us dogging the boys or ditching the mates for a missus. Even if we were on and playing together, these comments were still rampant. You'd think someone you call the best mate would be happy you're in a loving relationship and still making time a few nights a week for the boys. Really tainted my image of this person. I'm politically independent, no party affiliation. I have many friends and acquaintances who are Republican. 2/3 of them hate Trump, but voted within party lines due to their self-interests or single issue, i.e., business owner, misplaced idea Trump was against abortions, etc. Anyway, one of them went complete QAnon. She wasn't like that before, but she's really deep into it now. Telling me about how Trump will be back in March May August, and the 10 days of darkness is coming. While the George Floyd case was still deliberating, she said there was gonna be a riot no matter what because of BLM. Told her it may happen if Siobhan's not guilty on all counts, but I expected he was dead to rights to at least one of the counts. She assured me BLM will riot no matter what. Verdict read, guilty on all counts. No riots. 1 week after the verdict, I asked her if there were any riots. She said there was, but mainstream media wouldn't show it. In 2015 or 2016 I got in a car crash which costed me my spine, T2. After being at the hospital for 2 months I went to foster care, then like a few months later they gave me back to my mom. But like 5 months later I was taken back to foster care because she was arrested for drugs and I didn't know what was happening, so I freaked out. And another 5 months later I went with my dad, who she said was a bad person, and eventually I learned she was in a cult, and during the car crash was caused by my mom drinking and driving, so yay, I lost all respect for her. I remember as a kid my mom and grandmother always talked about how John Edwards was such a good politician and shit. Lol, turns put he cheated on his dying wife. Good lesson to learn at like 12 years old, fuck politicians. My first pregnancy was a really hard one. 19 weeks I found out I had an incompetent cervix and ended up getting 2 emergency surgeries and was hospitalized till I gave birth to him at 26 weeks. He's 5 now and you wouldn't even be able to tell. Basically I was in such a delicate state and odds were against me. Anytime I would get emotional I would start contracting, which would make things worse. I decided to isolate myself and stay focused on keeping myself happy and occupied so I wouldn't be upset or sad. A friend of mine called me selfish and told our friends that I should have let her be there for me and was mad that I isolated myself. I am always the people-pleasing type and would have normally kissed her ass to make up, but this time it was her versus my son, in my mind. No competition.